My name is Michael O'Connell, and I'd like to welcome all of you to this gathering to celebrate the life of Dennis Patrick Moulton. My wife Joanne and I have had the pleasure of knowing Dennis for over 40 years as professional colleagues, neighbors, and friends. And I have been given the distinct honor of hosting this very special event. Today's program will feature a number of designated speakers, followed by an opportunity. Whoops, didn't plan on that. So after the designated speakers, there'll be an opportunity for anyone in attendance to share their thoughts and remembrance of Dennis. Although our hearts are heavy, I expect, like any true celebration, a range of emotions will be heard and felt as our speakers tell their stories, and I think that's exactly what Dennis would want. So with that as our backdrop, let us begin. And before I call up our first speaker, I'd just like to mention the fact that it looks very much like Dennis was in charge of the weather today, so we're very lucky with that. So our first speaker today will be Kathy Elliott.
Okay, good morning. When Bee told me that Dennis wanted me to talk at his celebration of life, I said, through my tears, I can't do that. And then in the next breath I said, of course I can do that. And I'm happy and proud to talk about Dennis, although I would prefer it to be at any other celebration, ceremony, or whatever, but I'm here. So I wanted to tell you a couple of funny things about Dennis that you may not know. The first time we met him, and actually it wasn't really a meeting, it was more like a sighting. We were at the young boys football game where Eric and Dennis were playing football, and we were all bundled up because it was pretty cold out. And we had our hats and our mittens and, just scarves, whatever. And we looked over and saw this big guy with shorts, short sleeves, and a vest. And I said, we looked at each other and we said, who is that? And we knew then that we wanted to know him. We wanted to meet him and we wanted to know him. Now I understand Dennis caused some problems for the Clark teachers because the kids all wanted to go out in the cold and dress like Mr. Moulton. And they weren't having any of that. But he was wonderful. He was a draw, like I said, so we just wanted to meet him and know him. And this is where our 30-year plus friendship started. Another funny thing, I think is funny, is that, well, exactly, it was 2 days ago. We were looking through some pictures, and there was a picture of Dennis with Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, shaking hands. And I noticed that there was a little grimace on Lou's face. I've never really been part of it. I've never felt that, but there is a Dennis Moulton handshake that is a little frightening to some people. It's like, wow. Even his doctors in Boston knew that they were going to be a little leery of shaking Dennis's hand. But he also, I know a lot of you know this because there was a picture that he wrestled a grizzly bear. And there actually was a rumor that he wrestled two grizzly bears, father and son. I think I made that rumor up, actually, but it was Victor 1 and not Victor 2, father and son. He did not wrestle both of them, but we're pretty sure he beat Victor 1, and Victor 2 heard about him and didn't want to have anything to do with that either. So he just took off. So he defeated the bear, but unfortunately he didn't win over this horrible disease. And it took its toll on him, but he will always be the big guy to you and me, not because of his size and stature, but because of who he was. And so he's Big D, Dennis, D, for determination and devotion, fiercely devoted to B, especially to B, to Dennis, Jim, Liz, Matt, Eli, Kelly, I'm trying to make sure I got them all, Jahida, Madeline and Zach, Lisi, and Vicky. And he was very devoted to them. He was devoted to his family, his friends, and his students. E for educated, entertaining, engaging, easygoing. Many people commented last night that Dennis never got ruffled. He was always just straight, and he just went with the flow. Didn't get riled, he didn't get angry. I don't think I've ever seen him angry. So he was just a wonderful man. The two N's, naughty and nice. Dennis had a very naughty little fun-loving personality. And you can see, just every time you look at him, every time you look at his picture, you can see this. And nice is really the word I would have to use to describe him. He was nicer than nice. He was kind and caring. I was intelligent, interesting, and involved. And his S is sensitive, smart, sweet, smile. He had a great smile. So, obviously, I used the letters of Dennis's name to describe him. And I could have been here all day doing this because I would have to go through every kind and nice word in Webster's to describe him. So I decided to limit it a little to what I could put out. But it doesn't matter what I said about him. What's important is that we'll never forget him. His name is Dennis. So, in closing, years ago, Dennis wanted to be reincarnated as a seagull. And he even planned his route out. He planned a route of where he loved the beach, and he loved the water, and he was going to be free. So I'm thinking someday, when I'm walking down the beach, I'm going to have a seagull beside me. And all of you should be watching for this also, because it's going to be a pretty big seagull. But he's going to be there. So his family will miss him. His friends will miss him. His students will miss him. You will all miss him. And I will miss him. The last thing I want to leave you with is something I read recently that reminded me of Dennis. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and very dear. Thank you.